Okay, so are you guys ready? I guess we'll start this session. So good afternoon, everyone. By the way, can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for verifying. Okay, so good afternoon. Welcome to PHiMO Finals 2023 review. This is the second session for for secondary two. Okay, so I guess we'll start directly with the first part of the session. Okay, so here we have question 1. Determine the larger angle made by the hands of an analog clock at 2:40 p.m. Okay, so basically when we are asked like some um clock angle problem, we'll use the formula, which is easy to familiarize. So using clock angle formula, we have this one. The clock angle in degrees, which is theta, is equal to the absolute value of um 30 degrees multiplied by h, or the number of hours, minus 11 over 2 degrees multiplied to the number of minutes. So it says here 240, which means h is equal to 2 and m is equal to 40. So here we substitute the values and solve for theta. Now here we have theta is equal to 60 degrees minus 220 degrees, which is equal to 160 degrees, because we have an absolute value. Okay, so the question asks for the larger angle. Now, since we have one angle here at 160 degrees, let's check for the other angle. So the other angle here is the angle in which their total sum is equal to 360 degrees. So in this case, we have 360 degrees minus 160 degrees is equal to 200. So which is larger or bigger? So the answer is 200 degrees. So you have letter E. So if you were to draw this something along um like this, I think something like that. So this will be our 160 and this will be our 200. Okay. So we have two angles. Next one. Question number 2. A certain survey was created to see what subjects students like. Their options are math, science, and literature. The data gathered is as follows. We have 55 students who likes math, 87 likes science, and 49 like literature. Among them, 23 like both math and science, 20 likes both literature and science, and 18 like both literature and math. If among them, 90 students like only one subject, how many like all three subjects? So the question here, it says 90 students like only one subject. So basically, a total of 90 students likes math only, in uh like math only, science only, and literature only. So you have a total of 90. Okay, so how do we solve for that one? Okay, so we first let M, S, and L represent sets of students who likes math, science, and literature. So you can also use the Venn diagram in order to uh observe and observe the values and also the portions as well. So here we have n of m is 55, n of s is 87, and n of l is 49. So n means the number of students. So n of m and s, so math and science, is equal to 23. So these are just the given values. So the question that we need to answer is how many like all three subjects. That means the intersection of the three. So likes math, science, and literature. So here we can have this formula. So how did we get this formula, or how do we achieve that? Okay. So if you were to draw a Venn diagram, let's just try to draw. Ano? Wait. You have here. Give me another color. I'll just move that one so that, okay. And then the other one, something like this. Okay. So this is math. This is science. And this is literature. Okay. So we already have the given. Also, it says here 90 students like only one subject. So basically, this right here, this part right here, this right here. So these are the students who likes math only, right? This, because it does not have any intersection with the other, let's say, portions or circles. Okay, the violet area. So I'll just not shade all of that. Next will be this one. So this one, right? This one. So science only. And of course, for the last one, I'll just have to use this one. Okay. So a total of these areas right here, I'll just have to shade on the border. Okay. So that is equal to 90. So how will we use the Venn diagram in order to solve this one? So we are to solve for the intersection of the three, which is the middle part, which is this one. I'll have to shade it black. Okay, so that. Okay, so how do we solve that? Okay, so we have here the total number of students, and sub which is who likes math, plus the total number of students who like science, plus the total number of students who like literature. Now, we have here, we subtract by 2 here the total number of students who like math and science. So why did we subtract 2? Okay, so first of all, we how we derive this formula is something like this. Focus on two, let's say, circles, right? So for two pairs of of circles here, we have n of m plus, let's focus on math and science first. N of s, and then minus n of m and s. So what does this formula equates to? So this equates to the area of the purple and the orange. Those who like math and science only. Okay. Next, we have the other formula, N of M for literature plus N of L minus N of M intersection L. Okay. And for the third one, N of S plus N of L minus N S intersection L. Wait. Okay. So wait a minute. I think there's something here. 2M, 2M. If you add all of this, this becomes 2NM plus 2NS plus 2NL. And then you divide by 2. Okay. So how do we get this again? Minus 2N. Wait a minute. Plus 3. Okay. So okay. So let me just remove this one first. Okay. So here we tried to add N of M, N of S, and N of L. Okay. So after adding that one, notice that if we want to have only those who belong to only one subject, we must also subtract 2 of N of M and S. The reason for that one is because when you try to add these two circles, the intersection here, which is this one, the intersection is added twice, which means that in order to get rid of that, you must also subtract twice. Same with this intersection and this intersection. Okay. So if we've removed that one, then we've also removed the middle part. Okay. So in order for us to basically to balance out the values, we must also add 3 of the intersection, 3 times the intersection. Why? Because if you look here, the first intersection, M and S, we've removed it once. For M and L, we removed it again. And for S and L, we've removed it again. So we've removed the middle part thrice already. So you must add it so that it will balance out. So that is how you get this formula. Okay. So after that one, the next thing to do here is we just have to substitute the values. So you have N of M, which is 55, N of S, which is 87, N of L, which is 49, 23, 20, and 18. So when you try to substitute those values, let me just move the Venn diagram somewhere here. Then you will get N is equal to 55 plus 87 minus plus 49 minus 2 times 23 minus 2 times 20 minus 2 times 18 plus 3 N of M and S and L. So this is what we need to solve, this value right here. Okay. When we simplify that, that will be 3 multiplied 2 N of M and S and L is equal to 90 minus 69, which is equal to 21. Now, since we still have the 3 on the left-hand side, so we divide by 3 and we get 7, which means that the intersection, the number of students who like all 3 subjects are 7. So that's it. for number 2. Letter A. For number 3, which of the following is the closest equivalent of 1,000 meters? So what you just need to do here is to simplify or convert meters to different to their corresponding, let's say, units. So the first one, we convert 1,000 meters to miles. As you can see, I think it's very far, far off the value. So we convert 1,000 meters to yards, to feet, to inches, and to centimeters. And then we compare the values. So if you look at the values here, which one is the closest? So the answer will just be letter C. Right? The answer is C. So you just need to convert and then get the closest value. Number 4. Which of the following arrangements is properly arranged from least to greatest? Okay, so for this one, this is multiple choice based, right? Because you need to find which one is arranged from least to greatest. Now, what I have advised you is to convert each of the values here, convert it to its radicand form. So what I meant by that is, if you have 36 square root of 5, then you convert that to square root of 36 squared times 5. So you convert that into one radicand in such a way that you can compare the values inside the square root. So the lesser the value inside the square root, the lesser its total value. Okay, except for when it is negative. Anyways, let's continue. So if you were to do this strategy, if you look at C, you have 18 squared times 3, we have square root of 972. 17 times 9 squared, 1,377, and so on. So you have square root of 6,174 and square root of 9,126. So since the values of the radicand is increasing from least to greatest, then the answer is C. So that is for number 4. Okay, next one. Number 5. An n-sided polygon has 594 diagonals. Determine the measure of each interior angle of this polygon. Okay, so we started off with counting the number of sides of this for this polygon. So using the formula for the number of diagonals, we have n times n minus 3 over 2, which is equal to 594. So when you multiply both sides by 2, you'll get n squared minus 3n is equal to 1,188. And when you simplify this one, factor, you'll get n minus 36 multiplied to n plus 33, which will give you n is equal to 36. So n is equal to negative 33 is not applicable. Okay, since you already have the number of sides, we need to solve for its interior angle. So you have 180 multiplied to 36 minus 2, which is equal to 36. So you have 5 times 34, which is, because 180 divided by 36 is 5. So 5 times 34 is equal to 170. So hence the interior angle is 170. So I guess what the question meant is n-sided regular polygon. This is a regular polygon. Okay. So let's move on to number 6. If m is not equal to 3 and m cubed is equal to 27, then what is the value of m squared plus 81 over m squared plus 23? Okay. You might be confused. Why is it not a value? when you try to substitute 3, then it automatically becomes 27. So how do we get other values for m here? Well, actually, if you have, let's say, um, a cubic equation, there are possible cases where you can have a root or a value or a solution with multiplicity 3, or it's just that the other two roots are not integers. So in this case, what we can do is we manipulate m cubed is equal to 27 into m cubed minus 27 is equal to 0. If you look closely, these are difference of two cubes. Now, the formula for difference of two cubes is if you have a cube minus b cube, that will just be equal to a minus b multiplied to a squared plus ab plus b squared. So that is what we're gonna do here. So you have m minus 3 multiplied to m squared plus 3m plus 9 is equal to 0. Now we can see that if m is not equal to 3, m minus 3 is not equal to 0, then the only case left would be this one, to assume that m squared plus 3m plus 9 is equal to 0. Now what will happen? Since m is not equal to 3, then you have m squared plus 3m plus 9 is equal to 0. So what will we do here? If you look closely at the given, right, you have m squared plus a squared over m squared, which is um, a form a form of expression that you can see in different sometimes questions. The usual way to get the value of that one would be by getting something like m plus a over m. In this case, a is equal to 9. So we just need to get this kind of form. So how do we get that? We divide by m. Since we're sure that m is not equal to 0, then of course we can divide both sides by m, giving us m plus 3 plus 9 over m is equal to 0. Now, when manipulating the equation, we have m plus 9 over m is equal to negative 3. Now we already have the m plus 9 over m. We then square both sides of the equation, giving us m squared plus 18 plus 81 over m squared is equal to 9. Now the question asks for m squared plus 81 over m squared plus 23. So what will we add here? Since we already have m squared plus 81 over m squared and plus 18, so we just have to add 5 to both sides of the equation, giving us m squared plus 81 over m squared plus 23 is equal to 9 plus 5, which is equal to 14. Hence, the answer for this question is letter D, 14. Okay. So next question, number 7. Which of the following set of points follow 3x squared plus 2xy is equal to x? Okay, so this might be confusing at first, but you can optimize the way of finding the value which will follow this equation. Okay, so here what we just did is we just substitute the values directly of the x coordinates and solve for y. However, what you can do is you can just express this one in terms of y in terms of x, and then you substitute so that you can solve for y directly. However, since this is just a very easy equation, then you can just substitute directly. So if you substituted negative 3, you will get y is equal to 5. So -3 and 5 is in the curve or in the graph of the equation. Also, if you substitute 3 here, 3, so we must expect to have -4. So y is equal to -4. If the 2 points here satisfies the equation, then it is already the answer. So that means the answer is letter A. So if A does not satisfy, then you proceed to the other points. It's easy to substitute, so don't have to worry. Okay, let's proceed to number 8. Two fair six-sided dice are thrown simultaneously. If one of the dice has a result of 5, what is the probability that the result of the other dice is also a 5? Okay, so here, since we are given that one of the dice has a result of 5, then these are the only possible results. Take note that one of the two has a result of 5. So that means that these are the only possible results. You have 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, and 5, 6. You just have to invert or exchange the two values other than 5, 5. Because of course it will just be the same. So 6, 5, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, and 5, 1. So if, by counting all of these two, or you can just have the 6, right? 1, 5 to 6, 5. So you have 6 results. You multiply that by 2, and then you just subtract by 1, knowing that 5, 5 will still be 5, 5 after the exchange. So you have 2 times 6, which is 12 minus 1, that will be 11. So since we have 11 results and we need to have 2 of the dice to be 5, then that will just be 1 out of these 11. So the answer for number 8 is letter E, 1 over 11. Letter E. Okay. Number 9. 4 lines, one of which is parallel to the y-axis, form a rectangle. Determine the product of their slopes. Okay, so this is already a red flag because knowing that the slope of the y-axis is cannot be determined, then if you were to multiply, right, then the product will just be undefined. That the product of their slopes cannot be determined. So that means that the answer for number 9 is letter E, cannot be determined. Also know that if you were to get the slope of the x-axis, right, or parallel to the x-axis, you'll get, I think, 0. Okay, so that's it for number 9. Number 10. Simplify square root of 23 minus 8 square root of 7 plus 23, square root of 23 plus 8 square root of 7. Okay, so the first thing to do here is we let the whole expression as x, right? X be equal to square root of 23 minus 8 square root of 7 plus square root of 23 plus 8 square root of 7. Okay, now, okay, so this is somehow, so the decision to square both sides is just to get rid of the radicals. Because you know, since you have square roots, so you must square both sides. Now, however, because of perfect square trinomials, squaring this binomial here will produce two values that two squares, but their middle term will also have a radical. Okay, so you have here 23 minus 8 square root of 7 plus 2 multiplied to the product of square root of 23 minus 8 square root of 7 and square root of 23 plus 8 square root of 7 plus 23 plus 8 square root of 7. So simplifying this one, you see that this and this will just be 0. So I think that's it for this one. So you have x squared is equal to 23 plus 23, which is 46, plus 2. Okay, notice that the radicand here has opposite, has kind of the form for the factors for difference of two squares. Now, if you look at the index, right, of the radical, they are both, they both have index 2 or square root. That means that you can multiply their radicand, right? So when you multiply the radicand, you can then apply the difference of two squares. So you have 46 plus 2 square, multiplied to the square root of 23 squared minus 8 square root of 7 quantity squared. Difference of two squares. And then you have x squared is equal to 46 plus 2 multiplied to square root of 23 squared, which is 529, and 8 squared of 7, which is 64 times 7, which is equal to 448. Now, when we try to simplify this even further, you'll get x squared is equal to 46 plus 2 square root of 81, which will just give us x squared is equal to 46 plus 2 times 9, which is 18. So 46 plus 18, that is equal to 64. And if we try to get this value for x here, that will just be positive 8. So the answer for number 10 is letter B, positive 8. So why can't we have negative? Okay, so the reason for that is the way this question is written. Because if you are given the radicals, right, directly, then you are to give the principal root. So what does it mean? What does principal root mean? It means that you are to give the positive root. Okay. That is why if you have a positive root added to a positive root, then your sum should also be positive. That's why we didn't consider negative 8 as a value. So that's it for number 10. Okay. The answer is letter B. Okay, so before we move on to 11 to the second part of the session, any questions regarding the multiple choice problems? If you have questions, please do ask in the chat box. If you have no questions, please type none. I want to see those who responds in the chat box. Why is it not 0 in question 9? Okay, question 9. Wait, let me go back to question 9, okay. I'm sorry that okay, why is it not 0 in question 9? Okay, the first thing is if you were to form a rectangle, right, since one of which is parallel, then of course it must be parallel to the y-axis. The two must be parallel to the y-axis, and the other two must be parallel to the x-axis. So knowing, yes, so actually, if one of which is parallel to the x-axis, it would still be the same. It would still be undefined. So this is the reason. The reason for that is the slope for having the slope of the x-axis is 0 already. Now, if you were to get the other or the axis that is perpendicular to the x-axis, what does that imply? It would be, you would be computing for the negative reciprocal of the slope. So what is the negative reciprocal of 0? There it is. It's undefined or cannot be determined. So the product would still be undefined. Okay, any other questions? How about the others? If there are no questions, please type none, okay? I'm still waiting for the others to type in because I only see few people who have messaged in the chat box. If okay, so if there are no more questions for the first part, let's proceed to question 11. A mill has a production rate of 200 kilograms per minute. Rounded off to the nearest whole number, determine the rate in ounces per second. Okay, so since we have already the conversion rate, which is 1 kilogram is equal to 35.27 ounces, then we could just convert it. Okay, so you have 200 kilograms per minute. So we need to convert kilograms to ounces. So that will be 35.27 ounces per kilogram. So this will just get eliminated. Okay, now we need to convert the per minute to seconds. So that since per minute is here in the denominator, so if you want to convert that to per second, then you just need to multiply 1 minute over over 60 seconds. So this would get eliminated, giving you ounces per second. So when you simplify this one, it will give you 117.57 ounces per second or 118. So the nearest whole number is 118 ounces per second. So the answer for 11 is 118. Yeah, there. Number 12. Determine the maximum of 2024 divided by the square root, divided by x squared minus 26x plus 192. Okay, so for this one, our numerator, if you look at our numerator, it is a positive integer. So in order for us to get or to maximize the whole expression, you need to minimize the denominator. Okay? Because for example, let's say you have um let's say you have 1/10, right? That is a value. Let's say 1/10. If you want to get a larger value, you need to continuously minimize the denominator. Okay? The smaller the value of the denominator, the greater the value of the whole fraction. So that means you need to get the minimum of x squared minus 26x plus 192. You can use the formula c minus b squared over 4a, or you can just use completing the square. So if you have here x squared minus 26x plus 169 plus 23. So the way we got this is we divided negative 26 by 2. So that will give us negative 13. Negative 13 squared will give us 169. So, okay. So we already have a perfect square trinomial. Now, here we have plus 192. So in order for us to have plus 192, so you subtract 192 by 169, that will give you 23. So you add 23. So the total for the value for the denominator still remains the same. Okay. Now, We have 2024 divided by x minus 13 squared plus 23. Take note that this is a positive integer and this is a non-negative non-negative value because perfect squares are non-negative. So if you were to minimize the denominator, then you need this value to be 0. So it attains maximum at x is equal to 13. So the whole expression attains maximum if the perfect square in the denominator becomes 0. So that will give us 2024 divided by 0 plus 23, which is equal to 2024 divided by 23, or 88. So the answer for number 12 is 88. Okay. Number 13. Oh, wait. Look at the solution. Number 13. Okay, I think the question here is, wait, let me just look at the prof. I didn't copy it. Okay. Okay. How much does the remaining volume capacity in liters pala? In liters. Sorry. Oh, round to the nearest hundreds. Wait, I need to type that one here because I didn't. To the nearest hundreds. Hundreds. Okay. Okay. So let's answer number 13. A large empty box has dimensions 100 millimeters by 30 millimeters by 500 millimeters. A filled box with half length, okay? A filled box with half the length, half the width, and half the height of the original box is placed inside the large empty box. How much is the remaining volume capacity of the box? Okay, so the way we do this is we get the volume. Of course, the easy way to do this is we get the volume of the empty box and then we subtract it to the volume of the box with half the dimensions. So that will be 100 millimeters times 300 millimeters times 500 millimeters minus 50 times 150 times 250. And then you convert that to liters later. So that will be 15 million minus, or you can just convert this to liters directly. Oh no, you can't actually. You have 15 million minus 1,875,000 cubic millimeters. Okay. If we since you know that 1 liter is equal to 1 million cubic millimeters. The reason for this is if you have 1 liter, that is equal to 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. Is it 1 liter? Wait, let me check. Can you verify, guys, in the chat box? I forgot. CC is equal to, yeah. So 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. So if I were, if, since I don't know the conversion factor, let's say I don't know, what I can do here is I convert cubic millimeter first to centimeter and then convert it to milliliters and then to liters. I guess that's how I would do it. So here we already have the conversion. 1 liter is equal to 1 million cubic millimeters. So that will just be equal to 13.3 13 liters. So round to the nearest hundredths, 13.125 or 13.13. Now, or what you can do is something like this. You have a volume, right, of 100, 300, and 500. So that will be, let's say, 15 liters, right? 15 liters. Since the volume is 15 liters and you need to subtract um, a volume with dimensions half to the to the box, then what you can do is you'll have 1/2 length times 1/2 width multiplied to 1/2 height. So that will just be 1/8 of the volume. So the remaining volume will just be 1 minus 1/8. So, or 7/8. So volume is 15 liters multiplied, so remaining volume is equal to 15 liters multiplied to 7/8. So that will just be the answer. That's how I would do it. Okay. Next, number 14. Factor completely. 24x squared minus 43x minus 56. So here, this is just, you just have to look for the factors of 24 and 56, which will give you a sum of negative 43. So this is the form, right? You have ax plus b multiplied to cx plus d. So you just have to follow that one. So since AC here, the product of AC is equal to 24 and BD is equal to negative 56, then you need to look for A and C and B and D such that if you were to get this middle value, you'll get negative 43. So by logical thinking, so you have 3, negative 8, and C, and 8 and 7. So you'll have 3x minus 8, and you have 8x plus 7. So that will be 3x minus 8 multiplied to 8x plus 7, or vice versa. 8x plus 7 multiplied to 3x minus 8. So that's number 14. And finally, number 15. A coin is tossed 9 times. Determine the probability that the results of the 9 tosses contains exactly 4 heads. Okay, so for this problem, what you can use is binomial distribution. So the formula for the binomial distribution or binomial probability just be something like this. If you have the probability of 4 heads out of 9 tosses, so that will just be choosing 4 coins out of these 9 coins. No, 4 tosses out of these 9 tosses. Right? So 9 choose 4 multiplied to the probability that it will contain 4 heads. So that will just be 1/2 raised to 4 because you need 4 heads. Also, for the other 5 tosses, so you get 1 minus 1/2. This is convenient for us because the probability of getting a head and a tail for this coin is equal, 1/2 and 1/2. So it's just convenient. So you'll have 9 choose 4, which is equal to 126, multiplied to 1/2 raised to 9, because 1 minus 1/2 is still 1/2. Right? So 1/2 raised to 4 multiplied to 1/2 raised to 5 is 1/2 raised to 4 plus 5 or 9. Okay. Now simplifying this one, you will get 63 divided by 256. So 2 raised to 8. Right? You have this one, you divide, so you'll be left with 8, and this will become 63. 2 raised to 8, so that will be 16 squared, which is 256. So the answer is 63 over 256. Okay. Okay, so before our break time, any questions regarding 11 to 15? How about the others? Any questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, then I guess we can have our 10-minute break. Okay, since it's already 3:57 PST, then um I would leave you one instruction here in the chat box. Please type ready after 10 minutes, which is at 4:08 p.m. PST. Okay? Okay. So see you after 10 minutes, guys. Bye. Okay, so our 10-minute break is done. Please type ready so that we can proceed. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, since half of you already messaged in the chat box, I guess we can proceed. We can continue with number 16. Okay, so number 16. Determine the value of 22 times 1 plus 21 times 2 plus 20 times 3 plus 19 times 4 and so on plus 2 times 21 plus 1 times 22. So if you observe the problem, right, 22 times 1 and 1 times 22 is just equal. Same with 21 times 2 and 2 times 21. So basically, if you were to solve each of the products, you just need to um get the product of 22 times 1 until I think that's 11 times 12, right? 12 times 11 and then 11 times 12, right? So 12 times 11 and then you add them together and you multiply by 2. However, it is easier to do summation. Okay, so I'm about to teach you how to use summation. So here, oh yeah, this is the given problem. So here, if you look closely, the let's say the products or the individual values of the products here, for example, 22 decreases by 1. However, by 1, and the other value increases by 1 as well. So what does that mean? That means you can create the summation using the product. First off is by adding the two values. Let's say 22 and 1. If you add 22 and 1, that will be 23. Now, you'll notice that if you were to subtract 23 by 1, right, you will get 22. And then you multiply that to the value that you have subtracted. Same with 21. 23 minus 2. So you have 21. Then you multiply that to the number that you subtracted, which is 2. So you can do this one by having 23 minus n multiplied by n. Okay, so that follows the sum. I mean each expression in the sum. Now you just have to use the summation symbol so that you can cover all of the expressions, the sum of all of the expressions here. Now for n, that will just be n is equal to 1 to 22. Okay, so you stop at 22 because the last value here will be 1 times 22. So that will be 23 minus 22, which is 1, and then n is 22. So you have covered all of the sum. Or what you can do is, like what I said earlier, you stop at 12 and 11, and then you just multiply by 2. So you can have 2, and then you can stop at 11. You can do that one, but this is easier. Okay, simplify. You'll get summation of 23n minus n squared from n to 22, and then you separate the summation. So that is one property of the summation. You can have, okay, so this can be equal to square root summation of 23n, n is equal to 1 to 22 minus summation of n squared from n is equal to 1 to 22. Okay, So there is also one property of the summation such that if you have a constant multiplied here, then you can factor out the constant. So you'll have 23 multiplied to the summation of n from n is equal to 1 to 22 minus summation of n squared from 1 to 22. Now these two right here, we already have the values or the formulas for this one. Okay, so if I were to write each summation into its sum, another expression that is equal for that one will just be, for the first one, it's just, or I'm just gonna write it. N from n is equal to 1 to 22 will just be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on plus 22. So in which you can just get the sum by n times n plus 1 over 2 or 22 times 23 over 2. Same with n squared. You also have a formula for n squared. That will be n squared from n is equal to 1 to 22. That will just be 1 squared plus 2 squared, right? Until 22 squared, which I think this is n plus 1. Oh, no. N times, wait, n plus 1, n plus 2 to n plus 1. Yeah. N times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1. 2n plus 1. Okay. So here, you have 23. So you have 22 times 23 over 2. And then you have this formula for n squared. I'm just going to write the formula. N times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 over 6. If you don't remember these formulas. Okay. So you have 22 times 23 times 45 divided by 6. Okay. So next, simplify. You'll have 5,819 minus 3,795. That is equal to 2,024. Oh, nice value. So the value or the answer, so the answer for 16 is 2,024. Number 17. Determine the sum of all real roots of x squared plus x minus 10 over x is equal to 1. Okay. So it says here sum of all real roots. Now, so for this one, if you try to simplify the equation, you'll have x cubed plus x squared minus 10 is equal to x. And then that will just be equal to x cubed plus x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0, which will then factor as x minus 2 multiplied to x squared plus 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now, here you have x is equal to 2. For x squared plus 3x plus 5, does that give us real roots? So let's check using the discriminant. So you have b squared minus 4ac. So you have 9 minus 4 times 1 times 5. So here, you can see that it is negative. So that means we have no real roots here. So, which means you only have one real root, which is x minus 2 is equal to 0 or x is equal to 2. So that's it for number 17. The answer is 2. But sir, if I were to use Vieta's formula, sir, it's not, why is it not equal to -1? Right? Okay, so the Vieta's formula gets the sum of all roots, real or imaginary. It will get the sum of all roots. So that is the Vieta's formula. In this one, it only asks for the sum of all real roots. So you need to be careful with that. Okay. Number 18. It is known that the Kelvin scale scales at the same rate with that of the Celsius scale. And that 0 Kelvin is equal to negative 273 degrees Celsius. Determine the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of 123 Kelvin. Okay, so it says here same rate, which means that if the Kelvin scale increases by 1, then the degree Celsius scale also increases by 1. So that means that if you have 123 Kelvin, that will just be equal to negative 273 degrees Celsius, okay, plus 123, which is equal to negative 150 degrees Celsius. We can then convert negative 150 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. So how will we do that? If you are given a temperature in which is in degrees Celsius, then what you need to do is you multiply that to 9/5 or 1.8, and then you add to 32. So you have negative 150 multiplied to 9/5 and then plus 32. So that will be negative 30 plus 9, negative 270. Negative 270 plus 32, that is negative 238. So we have here the answer for number 18, negative 238 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's continue with number 19. If x squared minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0, determine the value of x squared, x raised to 6 plus 1 over x raised to 6. Okay, again, we have this, what do you call this? Form of expression. You have x raised to 6 plus 1 over x raised to 6. So again, what's the first way to solve this one? You need to solve for x plus 1 over x plus 1 over x. So here we have x squared. We manipulate the given equation to x squared plus 1 over is equal to 6x, and then we divide by x. So that will just be x plus 1 over x is equal to 6. Now, you have two options in solving for x raised to 6 plus 1 over x raised to 6. You can either get the perfect square first and cube, or get the cube first and then use square. Okay, so you have two options. However, I think it's easy to get the cube first and then square it. Because if you think about it, if you have a perfect square for, let's say, if you have a perfect square and then you apply both sides by 3, then you are prone to having extra terms which can have other exponents. I think you can have x raised to 4 for when you try the square first, then cube, rather than this one. This one is more direct. So since you have x plus 1 over x raised is equal to 6, we raise both sides by 3, and then we got x cubed plus 3x plus 3 over x plus 1 over x cubed is equal to 216. Now, we solve for x cubed plus 1 over x cubed. So what we did is we subtracted both sides by 3x plus 3 over x. Now, since 3 is a common factor, we then factor out 3. That is why we have x cubed plus 1 over x cubed is equal to 216 minus 3. So we factored out, and then you have here x plus 1 over x. Now, we already have a value for x plus 1 over x, which is 6 earlier. So we just have to
70 pesos.
hello? Did I get disconnected?
Yes po.
Okay, so at what
Ay,
point?
nakasana kaso hindi.
At what point here? At what point
So,
of the
24,
discussion did I get disconnected?
48, 50, 60.
19?
Yes po, the fourth equation.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here we have minus 3 multiplied to x plus 1 over x. Am I still recording? Yes, thank you. We substituted the value here, which is x plus 1 over x is equal to 6. So that's why we have 3 times 6. When simplifying, you'll get 198. Now, we square both sides, giving us x raised to 6 plus 2 plus 1 over x raised to 6 is equal to 39,204. Now, we just subtract both sides by 2, and you'll have 39,202. So the answer for number 19 is 39,202. Okay, so if you want to try later at home, you try doing perfect square first and then cube. I think you will get a x raised to 4 somewhere in between. So it gives us more what do you call this? More room for error. It's also tedious. It's also it will also elongate the solution more. So I think this one is better. Okay, so let's proceed to number 20. Number 20. Simplify this expression. Wow. So the first thing that we will do is, of course, we factor each of the values in the numerators and in the denominators. We try to factor them. The reason for that is because we want to eliminate the factors that are present in both the numerators and denominators later. So that will be, so the factor of x squared plus 5x plus 4 is x plus 4 multiplied to x plus 1. The factor of x squared minus x minus 12 is x plus 3 multiplied to x minus 4. The factor of x squared plus x minus 6 is x minus 2 multiplied to x plus 3. Factor of x squared plus 2x plus 1, that is a perfect square trinomial. So you have x plus 1 squared, x plus 1 times x plus 1. And then the factors for x squared plus 2x plus 8 is x plus 4 and x minus 2, while the factors for x squared minus 9x plus 20 is x minus 4 multiplied to x plus 5. Okay, so that is the first thing to do here. The next thing is that since you have the operations multiplication and division, so we need to follow the rules when multiplying and dividing. So what we do here is we get the reciprocal of this term right here that we are using to divide, and then we multiply their respective numerators and denominators. So as you can see, we have x plus 4 multiplied to x plus 1 multiplied to x minus 2 multiplied to x plus 3 multiplied to x minus 4, since this is already what do you call this, inverse, I think. So x minus 5, and then the other values, x plus 3, x minus 4, x plus 1, x plus 1, and then x plus 4 and x minus 2. Okay. So the main reason why I did not cancel, or I did not cancel out factors earlier, is that it may cause confusion for me in the long run. So this is what I will do. So for this one, it's so much easier to get rid of the common factors here, or values, equal values. So you have this one. Oh no, I think I might have to choose this one. Yeah. X plus 4 and x minus 2. And then as you can see, we will be left with x minus 5 divided by x plus 1. So that is the answer for number 20. X minus 5 divided by x plus 1. Okay. Let's proceed with number 21. The surface areas of two cubes, one of which has an edge 15 centimeters longer than the second one, differs by 5,490 square centimeters. Calculate the volume of the smaller cube. Okay, again, since it says here differs by, right, differs, which means that we can just get the surface areas of two cubes and then subtract. Now, the way to do this is by letting the side length of the smaller cube be S sub 1. So it says here, one of which has an edge 15 centimeters longer. So that would help us in getting the surface areas. So that will be the surface area of the larger cube will just be 6 multiplied to S plus 15 squared because as we all know, 15 edge longer minus 6S squared, which is the surface area of the smaller cube. That is equal to 5,490. We divide both sides by 6, which gives us 915. We simplify S plus 15 squared. That will be S squared plus 30S plus 225. We subtract S squared. And then we have 30S is equal to 915 minus 225, which will give us 690. And then we divide both sides by 30, giving us 23. So this is the side length of the smaller cube. The question asks for the volume of the smaller cube. So that will just be 23 cube or 12,167. So that is 21. I think we have a similar problem like in the last session. Okay, let's proceed to 22. Suppose x is a real number. Determine the minimum value of, wow. So square root of x squared plus 16x plus 964 plus square root of x squared minus 8x plus 241. Okay, so this is somehow a geometric approach for 22. Okay, so what you will do is you complete the square first. So you have x squared plus 16x and x squared minus 8x here. So completing the square, you have 16 divided by 2, which is 8. 8 squared is equal to 64. Okay, so 964 minus 64 is 900. So same here. We have x squared minus 8x, so you divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. And then 241 minus 16 is 225. Now we have this expression. You have square root of x plus 8, quantity squared, plus 900, which is 30 squared, plus the square root of x minus 4, quantity squared, plus 15 squared. Okay, so here, think of this as having two distance formulas between the points negative 30, negative 830, and x0. Okay, so let me show you guys. If we were to draw this, right? Because if you analyze the radicand part or even the expression, one of the expressions, it looks like the distance formula, right? So that means that if I were to have this formula, I can have either of the two. You can have negative 8, because of course the distance formula is x of 1 minus x of 2. So that means that one of my points would have to be x0 to have x here. So x plus 8 means that one of my point is negative 8, right? So x minus negative 8 is x plus 8. And then for 30 squared, since this is just 0, I have two possible values. I could have 30 or negative 30. But let's just analyze first. Okay, the first thing to do here is to try to graph this. or just an estimate of the graph. So you have negative 8, 30. So negative 8 as an x value. So I could just have here and 30. So here, so this is the point somewhere along that area, right? Or even closer. I think even closer because that's 30. You can have it here and here. Just an estimate. Okay. Right. So I have x0. So what does x0 means? X0 means that it is on the x-axis, right? X0 looks a lot like the x-intercept, right? So that means that it is on the x-axis. So take note of that one. And then we proceed with the other, let's say, expression. You have x minus 4 squared and x plus, plus 15 squared. So you have the point 4, right? You have 4 because x minus 4, and then you have 15. So, sir, how did you get these pairs? Like 30, negative 15, negative 30, 15, something like that, right? Because we have two values. You can have positive 15 or negative 15. So how do you decide on that? Well, you decide on that based on the graph. So take note, you have 4. You have 4. So somewhere between here. Okay. If 15 is positive, what will happen? It will be on quadrant 1, in which if you were to get the minimum value, right? Minimum value of the distance between these 3 points, if you look here, right? It will have no, like, I don't know, you can't see, it is not like optimized in my no, in my vision, in my let's say graph. So, or if you were to get the distance between these 2 points, right? If you look here, then it does not touch the x-axis. So you can get the minimum, right? So this is where your decision will be. So you must have negative 15. So here, so that it will intersect the x-axis at some point. Okay, it will intersect the x-axis. So of course, a straight line will give you the minimum distance. Right? A straight line will give you a minimum distance. So that is how you decide the pairing. So for negative 8, negative 30, somewhere, let's say, a reflection of that one, of course, you will use the reflection of negative 15. So that is where we decide on the pairings. Okay, so since we have that one, in order for us to have the minimum distance, these 3 must be collinear. Okay, take note, these 3 must be collinear, which means we just get the distance between negative 8, 30 and 4, negative 15. So that is the purpose. Okay. In order to get the minimum value of the whole expression, you just get the distance between the 2 points, because these are the only points that are clearly defined, not x0. Okay, so just use the distance formula between the two. So you have negative 8 minus 4 squared, x sub 1, right? Minus x sub 2, quantity squared. And then you have 30 minus negative 15, quantity squared. That will be equal to square root of 2,169, or just equal to 3 square root of 241. So that is the shortest distance, or the minimum value of the expression. So this is somehow a geometric approach to this problem, which is kind of cool. Anyways, let's proceed to number 23. It is known that x and y are integers and x times y plus 1 plus y times x plus 1 is equal to 2024 plus xy. Determine the number of possible solutions for x and y. So I guess we have a similar problem like for session 1. I forgot, but I think we have. So what do we do here? We simplify, right? We have xy plus x plus x plus xy plus y is equal to 2024 plus xy. We get rid of xy, and so you'll have xy plus x plus y is equal to 2024. Again, since we have this kind of form, we just have to add 1 to both sides, which will give us xy plus x plus y plus 1 is equal to 2024 plus 1 or 2025. Now, the reason for adding 1 is so that we can factor out the left-hand side, which will give us x plus 1 multiplied to y plus 1 is equal to 2025. Knowing that x and y are integers, that means that we can assign factors to x plus 1 and y plus 1, factors of 2025. Okay, so that means that we get the number of factors of 2025 that will be so prime factorization first of 2025 is 3 raised to 4 multiplied to 5 squared. So getting the number of factors, you will have 2. So we multiply 2 because we can have negative values here. So you have 2 multiplied to 4 plus 1. So this formula right here is the number of positive factors. So we would just multiply 2 because we have to include it. Because the problem didn't restrict us to having x and y as positive integers. Okay, so you have 2 times 5 times 3, that will be equal to 30. So you have 30 possible solutions for number 23. Okay. So next one, number 24. Given the equation 4x squared plus 18p is equal to 3px has no real root or roots, determine the largest possible value of integer p. Okay, so what do we do here? Use the discriminant. Okay, the formula for the discriminant is of course b squared minus 4ac. So we need to manipulate this expression into the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So as you can see, we have 4x squared minus 3px plus 18p is equal to 0. Then we can use we can get the discriminant. So we have b, which is negative 3p squared minus 4 times 18p, that is less than 0. Okay. Why is it less than 0? Because we have no real roots. So you must have less than 0. So you have 9p squared minus 16 times 18p is less than 0. Okay. And then we factored out 9p. So factoring out 9p leaves us p minus 32, which is less than 0. So we have the value for p, which is greater than 0 but less than 32. So what is the largest possible value of integer p? That is 31. So that is number 24. Number 25. Oh, the equation 2x squared plus mx plus 7 is equal to 0 has real roots. If m is a negative real number, then what is the maximum value of m? So same approach. It has real roots, then its discriminant should be greater than or equal to 0. So that will be m squared minus wait. Okay, so you have an answer. M squared minus 4 times 2. You have 2 here and times 7. So you have m squared minus 56 is greater than or equal to 0, which will give us m squared is greater than or equal to 56. So this is what we have. M is less than or equal to negative square root of 56, but greater than or equal to square root of 56. Now, how do we get the maximum value of m? So since m is negative, then the maximum value of m is negative 8. Okay, sir, how did you come to the conclusion that it is negative 8? Well, you can use this one. Take note that negative square root of 56, the perfect square that is close to that will be, or that is less than that one is negative square root of 64, which is negative 8. Okay, so the maximum value for m will just be negative 8. So it does not go to negative 9 because it says here less than or equal. So the closest to this value. Okay, so that is number 25. Number 26. It is known that the expression square root of 48 plus 2 square root of 48 plus 2 square root of 48 plus 2 and so on can be expressed as a rational number. Determine that rational number. Okay, so as I read the problem, you may have noticed that this part right here is just the same as this part right here. So if I let x be the whole expression, then this part right here will just be x, which will give us x is equal to square root of 48 plus 2x. That will be x squared is equal to 48 plus 2x, which will give us x squared minus 2x minus 48 is equal to 0. And we have this one. X minus 8 multiplied to x plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, sir, I see two values. I see negative 6 and 8. So how come I only have one answer? Okay, so we don't accept x is equal to negative 6 because principal root. Okay, principal root. Also, if you check the values in the middle, they are all positive integers. So that means that if you were to simplify that one, it would be positive. Okay, next 27. Let P be a point inside rectangle ABCD. Okay, so if PD is equal to 23, PC is equal to 26, PA is equal to 11, find PB. Okay, so there is already a theorem about this one. If you have, let's say, a quadrilateral, right, and you have a point inside that quadrilateral, let's say, I'll just have to, let's say, quadrilateral ABCD, and then, I think it's not, like, I think it's more a rectangle rather than quadrilateral. So if PA is 11, PD is 23, PC is 26, so more likely very close to A, somewhere around here. Ano? Yeah. Well, it's hard. So this is P, right? A point P. Let's say this is P. So you can have this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. So if you don't have any idea of the theorem, you might have to go something like this, right? Okay, I have to divide this into 4 and then just use Pythagorean theorem until I get the value of PB, right? but that would take you a longer time. There is a theorem, which is what we call the British flag theorem, right? Which states that the sum of the squares of the segments that is connecting P to the opposite vertices, let's say PA squared and PC squared, that is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of, let's say, from point B to the other two pairs of vertices. So you have PB squared plus PB squared. So that is the theorem. So what you just need to do is substitute and then solve for PB. So that will be PB squared is equal to PA squared plus PC squared minus PB squared, or PB squared is equal to PA, which is 11 squared, plus PC, which is 26 squared, minus PD squared, which is 20 minus 23 squared. And then you'll get PB squared is equal to 268, which when you get the square root, you'll get 2 square root of 2 square root of 67. So that means that this is the length of PB. 2 square root of 67. Okay. So let's proceed to 28. How many ways are there to choose two managers? Two managers. Associates, 4 associates, and 6 staffs among 13 people. Okay. So I think we have a similar problem to last time. So what you can just do is, of course, we need to choose two managers. So 13 choose 2 multiplied to getting 4 associates from the remaining. So 13 minus 2 is 11. So 11 choose 4. And then we have 7 people left. So we choose 6 staffs out of the 7. So that will be this expression. Now, 13 choose 2 is 78, 11 choose 4 is 330, and 7 choose 6 is 7, which will give us 180,180. So as what I've said before, you can do it in any order. You can do associates first or staffs first. So you can do like 13 choose 6, 7 choose 4, and then 3 choose 2. Yeah. So you can do it in reverse order. You will still get the same answer. Okay. So that will be question 28. Okay, so let's proceed to question 29. What is the perimeter of a rectangle of area 64 inscribed in a circle of radius 7? Okay, we don't know any dimensions of the rectangle. So we let that as x and y. So let x and y with the length and the width of the rectangle respectively. So when we try to get the perimeter, of course, we need to have 2x plus 2y or 2 times x plus y. So this is quite crucial, okay, for later. The next thing is given area 64, that will be area is equal to xy is equal to 64. And then the diagonal of the rectangle is the diameter of the circle. Okay, so the diagonal of the rectangle is the diameter because, of course, it is inscribed in a circle. So that will be x squared plus y squared is equal to 2 times 7. So 2 times 7 because the diameter is twice the radius. Where's that? So you have 14 squared, which is 196. Now, okay. So here we have x squared and y squared. So we need to introduce x plus y in order to get the perimeter. So how do we do that? Of course, we have to use x plus y quantity squared is equal to x squared plus 2x plus y squared. So this contains the x squared and y squared, and of course the area xy. So that will be x squared plus y squared, which is 196, plus 2 times the area, which is 64, which will give us 324. Now getting the square root, because of course we need x plus y. So that will be x plus y is equal to square root of 324, which is equal to 18. Okay, so we already have x plus y. Therefore, the perimeter of the rectangle is 2 times x plus y, which is equal to 2 times 18, or 36. So the answer for number 29 is 36. And finally, number 30. Find the number of different words with or without meaning that can be formed with the letters of the word Philippines, such that the vowels are always together. Okay, so first, let's list of the letters of the word Philippines. So you have P, we have 3 P's, right? We have H, you only have 1. I have 1, 2, 3. L, I have 1. N, I have 1. And E, I have 1. I think that's it. 3, 4, 8, 10. 3, oh no, we're still missing something. S, 1. So 5, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so we have 11 letters in total. Okay, it says here, the vowels are always together, which means that we need to create a group or form a block using these 4 letters, right? So that is one group. So how many ways can we arrange these letters? So that will be 1. How many groups do we have, or how many letters we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 groups, or 6 individual So how do we arrange that one? That will be 6 factorial in a row. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's not 6 factorial. Sorry. Because we have 3 P's, right? 3 P's. So that will be 8. 8, and then 8 factorial divided by 3 factorial, because we have 3 P's. So 3 factorial. Okay. So since we have 3 duplicates of P. And then here, what did we multiply? We multiplied the number of ways we can arrange the vowels. So since we have 4 vowels here, we have 3 I's and 1 E. So you have 4 factorial divided by 3 factorial, because we have 3 duplicates of I. So that means we have 26,880. So that is the simplified answer. So questions or clarifications for the second session? How about the others? Questions or clarifications? Up a picture ng 30. Yes, we can go back to 30. There. How about the others? I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you have no question, please type none. If you have questions, please do ask. And 26. Okay, so how do I go back to 26? Wait a minute. Let me just wait. Number 26 from, okay, here. Wait, let me give a chance to number 26. Okay, so this is number 26. Okay, any questions? Any other um clarifications? Okay, so that's number 26. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I guess we can wait. Okay. So I guess we can end our session for this afternoon. So thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you've learned a lot this afternoon. Um and see you for the next and final session next week. Okay, so bye guys, take care. Um we have maybe a bad weather for this time, so please take care everyone and see you next week. Bye.
Bye po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye po, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you po, sir.
Thank you. See you. See you next week. You may leave the meeting, guys. Thank you. Hey everyone. See you next week.